This, I mean, is it even possible to have both parents struggling with chronic fatigue and have kids? And we kind of thought about that long and hard and prayed about it a lot, and we got to the point where we're like, if we can have people help us with childcare, then we can try.
Mm-hmm.
So we did, and we fell pregnant reasonably quickly, and we were super nervous, and we were going for checkups and a lot. Jude was getting tested a lot, but 3 months in, we found out that we were on track.
A-okay.
Yeah, everything was
Wonderful.
Right in the middle. All the tests came back right in the middle, and we were feeling pretty confident, excited, and we found out it was a little girl, and we named her Grace, because we figured we'd need a lot of that, and we prepared. My wife got really excited, like a lot of new moms do. She made this amazing nursery, and
where were you living at the time?
we were living in California.
Okay.
So, Jude redecorated this room and put up the pink wallpaper, got it all ready for the little girl,
wow.
had the little fantasy chest and everything, and got really excited. The mom started to get excited and talked about coming over, tickets were booked and everything. And then literally like a week before Jude's due date, before Grace was due to be born.
So full term?
Full term, 9 months, yeah.
Okay.
Just over. As most moms will tell you, it's not 9 months, 10 months.
Right.
That's one of the last great fallacies, they say. But like literally a week before full term, Jude, I remember I was fixing something with the house, and I just remember her saying, I'm feeling nervous today. I haven't felt Gracie kick today. And this is a concern that every new parent has, and there's like super high highs and potential low lows, and you try to keep it pretty cool and calm until something's really there to worry about. There's no point getting too stressed about anything, but we were like, okay, well, let's go to the hospital and get this checked out, and let's try to stay calm while we do it. So I drove us pretty fast to the hospital, and
how far away?
It's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, long drive.
Yeah, it's a long drive. I live out in the bush, so man, it was horrible. I remember it so clearly, and we got to the hospital, and we were kind of racing to get up to the ward, and I remember somebody saying, "Oh, is this your first? Congratulations!" And I remember just like receiving the congratulations, and then another part of me was like, "Man, I hope this is okay." I was really starting to.
Wow.
I didn't have a good feeling, and we raced up there, and they brought Jude into a room and started to do the sonogram. They listened for the heartbeat, and that's normally not a straightforward thing. Occasionally it takes them a while to find the baby's heartbeat because the baby can move around. So the first 15 seconds, I was like, oh, well, that's normal, that can happen. But after about 30 seconds, just this dawning horror began to fall on us, and I just remember the nurse looking up and just after about a minute and a half just saying, "I'm sorry, we can't find a heartbeat," and the nurse was crying, and my wife just broke down, and I just remember her just rushing to the loo and throwing up. She was just so overcome by it, and I honestly couldn't believe it. I just felt hot and cold chills. We were just literally just freaking out, and so then a doctor came in to see us, and he said what they recommend is natural birth. This is what they recommend, which is at the time was just actually almost impossible to process, because I was just thinking, our little girl has just died in my wife's womb, and then I started to worry, well, is Jude going to be okay if she has to deliver Gracie and Gracie's not alive? We kind of fought them, and we said, man, what about a C-section? Wouldn't that be better? And they were pretty strong on it. So So they began to induce labor, and then shortly after.
When did they do that? Like
literally within the space of an hour or so.
So from finding out that there wasn't a heartbeat, they take you within an hour, and they're inducing labor.
Yeah. So we went that morning. Okay. Everything was A-okay.
Where's family? Where's friends? I mean, are you alone through all this?
Well, I mean, so while that happens, I go and make my calls. And I mean, this was like probably one of the worst 20 minutes of my life, is just calling person after person and saying, hey, we've just lost a baby. Please pray for us. And, you know, I mean, at that point, I'm praying that God will, you know, I'm praying God will bring Gracie back. You know, I'm praying that He'll heal her and bring her back to life. He can do it. He does resurrect people. But all the while, I'm just feeling like it's not going to work out, and I'm not. I'm just really worried for Jude at this point.
Yeah.
But we have had the most amazing group of friends. We have this little home church that we're a part of, and they just arrived, just like all of them just piled in. And the week before, Larry, who's our little daughter Bella's godfather, had prayed this prayer to God. He'd found out that a while back, had found out that his mom had a similar experience and had lost a baby. And he'd prayed, God, if I ever have if you allow me, I'd love to have the opportunity to be with someone and pastor and care for someone during something like this. I'm available, just so you know. So when he got the call, he just arrived like super quick, and he stayed in that waiting room for the next like 36 hours. He was there. He was out. He was a rock, and our friends were exactly the same. And they just arrived from Costa Mesa and from all over, like they came from far and near. And but in the meantime, Jude and I, we were waiting for the labor, inducing the labor to begin. And this was the hard part, man. It takes like 12 hours for this to happen. So we're in the ward, the pregnancy ward, and we're hearing moms come in having sonograms, and then we're hearing babies being born and labor, and it's just unbelievable, and it's so hard. And the people say, man, that must have been incredibly sad, and it was sad. Later on, it was particularly sad, but at the time, it was horror, basically. That was what we were going through. It was horror. We were just, I just couldn't believe this was actually real. But our friends began to pray, and we began to sense God's peace, even though that night was filled with terror and trauma at times. We just began to sense God's peace, and the labor went really well. And actually, by the time Gracie was delivered, the sense of God's presence in that ward was unbelievable. It was just incredible. And we were able to, it sounds odd to talk about it, but we were able to really be thankful for Grace. We were thankful for her. Even though we only got to be with her for 9 months, we got to see her, and she was beautiful. She was perfectly formed. You know, she had an autopsy done on her. There was nothing wrong with her. Her heart just stopped beating, which can happen apparently. Just like sudden infant death syndrome, it can happen in the womb. So this is what happened. And but as she was delivered, we just our friends, you know, she was delivered. We got to take pictures of her and see her, and our friends gathered round, and Larry led us in the doxology, and we thanked the Lord for her, and blessed Him for her, and thanked Him for this little life, and we honestly felt His presence there. It was sad, but he was so close.